And we're spinning it up. We do have the Surface screen and our spinning ball. Now remember, this is a first-time boot, which is always going to be slower or longer than the average boot, but we still seem to be running pretty quickly. So it's already asking me for my display language. Just to keep the screen clean, I'm going to use the stylus and press English. Click Next. I'm going to agree to the license terms. I've already read them in advance, as you should always, of course. Now the personalization, we can choose the color that we want. And it's great that we can just scroll through here and pick a color from gray all the way through to black, but I'm going to pick something pretty common. I like the bluish green. And it's asking me for a PC name. I'm going to type in MDG. Whoops. MDG Surface Pro. And click Next. Now it's already asked me to choose a wireless. I'm going to pick the Microsoft Store and say Connect automatically and click Connect. Now it's going to ask me if I want to use Express settings or customize. I'll use my Express settings. And it's asking me to sign in. My favorite email address to sign in from, we'll use Mitch at garvis.ca. And it's going to check online to see if there's a Microsoft account, which you used to know as a Windows Live ID associated. There is. And it's going to ask me for my password, which I will type in quickly so that you don't see it. Oops. Whoops, and it obviously that's the wrong password. That should be the right password. There we go. It's asking me for my alternate email, and that's the email address that if you'd like to reach me, you can send me an email on, b-mitchg@microsoft.com. I'll click Next. Now, because I've already signed in using this account to a Windows 8 device, it is going to pull a lot of my settings down from the cloud. Windows 8 really is an operating system designed from the cloud up, as Microsoft likes to say. And all of my settings are, or a lot of my settings are out in the cloud so that I can pull them up as required. So it's now telling me, hi, while we're getting started, let's tell you a few things about Windows 8. But because we already know this, we're going to fast forward through to the end. And we'll pause here and resume the video in a minute. Go ahead. So we're back. We finally got logged on, the first log on of Windows 8 on my Surface Pro, and we see right off the bat, one of the reasons it takes so long is that this desktop image, that's the image that I have on my Windows 8 desktop at home. And when I go back, that's a picture of my son, and all of these are things from my SkyDrive, my status, my mail. It's all set up for me. Some of my apps are already there, my LifeCam, and that was all brought down from my profile in the cloud. Now, the great thing about apps is I can now go to the store, the Windows Store, not the Microsoft Store where we are here, and I can just drop down there and click on My Apps, and it will show me a list of all of the apps that I've downloaded or purchased so far on any Windows 8 device, and you'll see that there are lots of them, games and WordPress and news apps and other things, and I can download these to the Surface device from the Microsoft Store without a problem, or from the Windows Store without a problem. So this is great. My Surface Pro is ready to go, and one of the things that people have been complaining about in the blogs is, or in the blogosphere, is the available resources. On my 128 gigabyte Surface Pro, you'll notice that I've only got 84.4 gigabytes left. Or sorry, 89.4 gigabytes left. And that's because the operating system takes up a lot, but there's also a recovery partition. And if we were to look at that, I'm actually going to use the keyboard to drop down to my disk manager. I'll see that I have a recovery partition that is nearly 8 gigabytes in size. I could eliminate that, transfer the recovery partition to a USB device, and recover that entire 7.8 gigabytes. That's going to leave me with nearly 97.5 gigabytes free on this 128 gigabyte Surface. Additionally, unlike most of its competitive devices, fruit baskets or whatever, I have the ability, there I can add a 64 gigabyte micro SD card, which is going to increase its memory. So I have everything that I need in one device. There are some people who are saying that this is not a fair comparison when I talk about comparing it to the iPad. There are some people who say it's not a fair comparison when I compare it to the MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air. But it really is all devices in one. It is a little heavy for a tablet, but for a tablet that's got the keyboard ability and the full Core i5 processor, this really is a replacement for the tablet and the Ultrabook. So I don't have to travel with all devices. I can have one device that's going to do everything. All of my apps in one location, all of my data in one location. The data, of course, will be in the cloud, but I won't have to bring it down from multiple locations and wonder from device to device if I've synchronized in time. So there's our tour of the first the first Microsoft Surface with Windows 8 Pro sold in Canada. For The World According to Mitch and the Canadian IT Pro Connection, I'm Mitch Garvis. Thanks for watching.